designed like this. But this one character has all these movement sprite sheets. So to make a character kind of move around and look, like they're actually moving and stuff like that, it takes all these different, individual animation frames. And so, like I said before, one time, animation, cartoons, same thing. It's a collection of a ton of individual uh, designs. I say that too much. Alright, let's see where we're at here. So you can see the size of this bad boy is actually pretty big, so we're going to cut that down in a minute. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this animation idle. I'm going to add another animation, and I'm going to name it running. We're going to make sure running is selected. We're going to import frames from files again. And let's choose the running animations. Run shoot we'll have to add differently. Delete the empty one. And so now you can see we have a little running animation. And then the idle is probably him just breathing. That's usually what the idle is. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have to shrink this down to size, because I'm going to let this go and you're going to see how big it is compared to everything else. It's quite large. Our other guy is 30 by 30. We might change that, make it smaller, bigger. So let's try to match 30 by 30 first, and we'll see what we can come up with. Starting with the idle animation. One thing I like to do with math, because I can keep everything I type on screen. I don't know why. Because like if you use a calculator, things disappear. You got to rely on memory. My memory's honestly terrible. Whoops. Key's getting stuck. Now this is still way too big, so I'm going to chop it down to 20. Alternatively, if you want to look at it like that, you can just do that. That's still going to be way too big, so we're going to go down to 5. That's interesting. Let's go down to 10. And I usually round down. Now we're going to stretch, because anything else would kind of just cut everything, crop everything out. If we stretch, it's going to shrink everything. We want to apply it to the whole animation, because we want it to affect all this good stuff too. The worst, one annoying thing that you can come across is adjusting animation frame sizes, and you adjust one of them differently or wrong, and it ends up shrinking or enlarging the actual image. So the size is all the same, the size of the character is all the same in most of the frames, and then a couple of the frames it's bigger or smaller, so it skews everything. So we're going to do that, and you'll notice everything shrinks. We'll check our origin. Should still be in the center here. I gotta see. Zoom up. Yeah, you can see. And once you zoom in, you can see all the graphics kind of skew, so it doesn't look terribly good. However, when you zoom up in game, yeah, it still looks like crap. We're gonna play with it anyway. Okay, so we have this bad boy designed, and it kind of fits with our character. 56-55 versus 30-30. One thing I need to do again, so we got 56-55. We're going to change this idle. I'm going to stretch that as well. Boom! Just like that. So now they're both the same size. Okay, and one thing that we want to do, let's rename this player overlay. We're going to give this bad boy a behavior of a pin. Because what we want to do is we want to pin this on top of this, And then this blue square is actually going to be everything, you know, that drives the actual player, and this is just going to be an image that sits on top of it. So let's make an event. Start of layout. We want the player overlay to pin to an object. What object will that be? Oh, it's player. Position and angle, no. It's just going to be position only. Angle will be, that'll start changing like it's hard to explain. A lot of times I'm more used to it with bullets and stuff like that, but with player movement back and forth, it might work. But a lot of times, like for instance, if you jump by pressing up, or for instance, if your angle shifts, then your animation like gets all out of whack. Like your player will be facing upwards into the sky instead of just jumping and facing still to the right. You know. I guess as an example. So we're going to go ahead and pin that bad boy. And let's just see how that looks right now. And you can see it's kind of just there. It is pinned, so it's great. What we're going to do now is one thing you'll notice is this animation did not play. Or actually, this is different. It doesn't even look different. What in the hell? Oh, there we go. You just can't tell. But you'll notice that it doesn't even do that. And that is because we're going to go to player overlay. It's not in this section. Properties over here. The initial animation is default. Open this up. There is no default animation. So it's kind of bugging out, if you will. You change this to idle. Oh, it still doesn't even work. Either that or you can barely tell. Hold on. I'm unfortunately listening to my neighbors being super loud. Okay, so we have a speed of 5. Let's tone this down to a speed of, let's just say 2. We want it to loop because if he's just, you know, sitting, then we want that to just sit there. Let me just double check that this has something in it. Barely. That could be a reason why I'm not seeing much, because the thing's so shrunk down. If you look very closely, you can kind of see him moving. But since it's so shrunk down, it's kind of hard to tell. So it's not a great example. One thing that I could do is make my view a lot bigger, make my character a lot bigger to match, and you can see that a little bit more. Shit. Let us move on to the running animation, and maybe that'll kind of wow you. Okay, so player overlay. By default, the idle is playing, so I'm going to insert something to say, remember, player actually drives everything. And platform. Oh, hell. Platform, yeah, I could do it this way. It's moving. Yeah, but it's not giving me a direction. I have to say keyboard is down. Oh, I've done that before though. Let's say on key is down. We're gonna click and we're gonna do the right arrow. Obviously, this wouldn't work if you know, we're based on touch. Let me do something different actually. This will probably work too. This will work if player's moving. Oops. It is moving. We're gonna set player animation overlay. So animation.